In Wayne Daniel's story, in which he was a rabbi around 2000 years ago and a chaplain now, we can see the continuing thread of a spiritual life. The affinities and interests of our current lives often have their genesis in past ones. Talents and abilities have been honed in previous incarnations before reappearing once again in the present one. We are the sum of our experiences, polished by our intuitional wisdom and our evolving awareness. The most intensive validation work is generally done by the person remembering the past life, as is shown here. The therapists are busy and often have many patients, but the clients are highly motivated to confirm the memories because the experiences are theirs. Confirmation of details lends even more power to the regression. Although the early research that Wayne Daniel accomplished prior to his trip to the ancient SN community was important and interesting, his on-site experiences were extraordinary. The déjà vu feeling of familiarity and of knowing your way around cannot be learned from maps. It comes from actual experience. He could describe the activities, the settings, and the details, and these were immediately confirmed. I remember my own past life experience in Alexandria about 2000 years ago, where I wandered among the SN communities in the desert to the north. The time period was the same as in Wayne Daniel's memory. Perhaps his coming to the training seminar was more of a reunion than we realized. According to a 2009 survey conducted by the Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life, nearly 3/4 of Americans believe in life after death, and approximately 1/4 believe in reincarnation. Almost half claim to have had a mystical or spiritual experience, a percentage that has more than doubled in the past 50 years, and about 30% say that they have felt in touch with someone who has died. Even though the numbers of people who believe in reincarnation are higher in Asia and other areas where the concept has been accepted for many centuries, the Western world is finally catching up. Researchers such as Ian Stevenson, MD, the late chairman emeritus of the psychiatry department at the University of Virginia, have documented thousands of cases of reincarnation, mostly through interviews leading to identification of the family from that person's most recent past life and then that family's ensuing confirmation of the recalled details. Dr. Stevenson's work, which focused primarily on children's spontaneous past life memories, revealed the frequency with which mortal wounds from a prior lifetime manifested as birthmarks in the child's current body. Nearly a decade ago, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation produced a beautiful, high-quality documentary series on past lives for which I was interviewed and acted as a consultant. After volunteers were chosen to undergo past life regressions, a reporter named Sarah Kapoor traveled all around the world, including to tiny rural villages and gravesites, to verify the memories. She spoke to priests, village elders, and historians, among others, who were able to validate the past lives that the volunteers had experienced. I watched the compelling and confirmational video documentation and am still moved by many of the cases. In 2008, when I regressed several people on the Oprah Winfrey Show, that show's producers interviewed Sarah. The earlier findings were confirmed once again, and in the intervening years, additional details had emerged after Sarah had followed up with the volunteers. In my previous books, I have extensively documented clinical cases that have validated past life memories. There are countless confirmed stories. Jenny Cockall, a British woman, discovered the children whom she had borne during her previous incarnation as Mary Sutton in Ireland in the early 20th century. 5 of Mary's children were still alive when Jenny found them in the 1990s. They were able to completely confirm Jenny's past life recall of even minor events in their childhoods, events that occurred more than 70 years prior to their emotional reunion with Jenny, the reincarnation of their mother, Mary Sutton. A carefully documented account of reincarnation is found in the book Soul Survivor, the reincarnation of a World War II fighter pilot by Bruce and Andrea Leininger. The parents of James Leininger observed their 2-year-old son recalling a prior lifetime as James Houston, a man who was killed in the Battle of Iwo Jima. The degree of confirmation, even of the tiniest military details, is a testament to the careful research done by little James's parents. Whether from single case reports, like the experiences of Jenny and the Lenningers, or from ongoing research studies by investigation of reincarnational material, extensive confirmation of the validity of past lives has been accumulated. Validation helps minds to open to new possibilities. A closed mind cannot learn anything new. A closed mind is stuck in the past. Thanks to the tireless efforts of researchers, we can legitimately state now that reincarnation can be accepted on the basis of clinical data and not solely by belief. Of course, truths really do not need research support. They exist above and beyond scientific confirmation, because science is constrained by the limitations of its measuring devices. It cannot prove what it cannot yet measure. When the appropriate tools are developed, the truths will be there, waiting to be discovered. Truths are independent and are unaffected by the beliefs of humans. Yet many people, understandably, find comfort and support in statistical and scientific proofs. Ideally, truth and proof coincide. For the concept of reincarnation, this has become the case. As an example, Sir Isaac Newton described gravity, but he did not invent it. For millennia, people knew the truth: what goes up must come down. It took the development of mathematical tools to allow Newton to actually explain the phenomenon. And as the tools of physics are further refined, gravity will be even better understood. Similarly, we can describe reincarnation, even though we don't yet know its exact mechanisms. We are still awaiting our Newton. After a training workshop, I dictated a brief experience that Claire, one of our participants, had had. From Ireland, Claire had never been to North or South America before in her life until she came to my training. There she had a past life memory in Chichen Itza, as she pronounced it. It was a place that she didn't know and that made no sense to her, yet she recalled it perfectly. She began describing an apparition that was like a magnificent, large angel with changing colors. Claire was a young woman who, along with some others, was involved in some kind of ceremony. She wore a white, belted robe. There were pyramids with flat tops and many steps that led up to a temple where she meditated to purify herself before the next part of the ritual. Claire was alone in the temple at the top of the steps, the flat-top pyramids below her. Suddenly, she found herself in a large hole in the ground. She was able to explain what was around and in the hole with great detail. She had become wrapped in a large fern at some point in the ceremony. This was apparently a sacrifice, but Claire was not at all traumatized, for she felt it was an honor to be chosen. Her family felt similarly honored. The decision to partake in the ceremony had been made willingly. Such details were later verified by another member of our training who happened to be a Mexican anthropologist and who was quite knowledgeable about its ancient ceremonies. I was impressed that in our small group, there was an anthropologist from Mexico who specialized in Mayan and indigenous cultures and who could immediately validate Claire's memories, which were far more elaborate and detailed than what I can recall or describe here. Neither Claire nor I had talked to the anthropologist before her regression. When I contemplate the odds of encountering a professional who specialized in the very same subject matter of Claire's recall, in the same small workshop, I am reminded that there are no coincidences in life. Jill, the client featured in the next story, discovered this same truth. The strong connections between her present and past life were far from accidental, and it was no coincidence that the details she recalled in a regression matched those that she later found in historical documents. Soulmate. This is a part of Zindagi Ki Roshni consultancy. It has been established for those who have lost someone and for those who are very sad in their life. About 100 PDF books and 20 short audio books of this topic will be sent to those who join it. This data will be sent to their email or WhatsApp. If you want to join this organization, then please send WhatsApp message to this number.